Good afternoon, everybody. To my 0 subscribers and 0 followers. It is currently 12:17, the 30th of December. Now, I was having a conversation with my sister yesterday over dinner. I can't remember how we got to this, but we started talking about boy bands and girl bands. And we were saying how they just don't exist anymore. Where have they gone? There were so many boy bands and girl bands that we grew up with, or that I grew up with, that just aren't around anymore. They've kind of broken up, they don't really produce anymore. But there just don't seem to be many that come through either. There's just no new ones coming through. To give you a few examples of some of the big ones that kind of came to mind when I was talking about it, was One Direction, obviously, in the 2010s, created by X Factor and Simon Cowell and all of his mighty power. Little Mix created at similar time, I think also created by Simon Cowell from the X Factor. But that's probably the most recent one. In terms of the older ones, you had JLS, known for some songs like Everybody in Love and Beat Again. Both of those songs are still on my playlist, and I do listen to them quite regularly, if I'm honest. I think the only people that people know from JLS are Aston Marigold and Marvin Humes. Marvin Humes, who is still kind of active as a kind of presenter, I think. I don't know if he's active on radio, but I've seen him around. The Jonas Brothers, though I think they still kind of make stuff, but they're more kind of individual than a band, I think. And then if we're going, well, for me, if we're going quite old, it would be TLC, Making No Scrubs. I'm sure that's a TikTok song that people like clipping. Destiny's Child, where Beyonce came from, I think. Say My Name, that is still on my playlist. That is probably the only Destiny's Child song that is on my playlist. Sugar Babes, I think they only made Push the Button, which is an okay song. Fifth Harmony, oh my days, I'm literally reading this off the internet, so I'm kind of waffling a bit as well. But Fifth Harmony, they're quite new. I think they kind of came after Little Mix and One Direction, so they're probably the most recent ones. And when I was researching this as to why bands don't really exist in the same place, is because a lot of them came from X Factor or The Voice or Pop Idol, and these were kind of short-lived groups that were created for TV, where they were effectively owned by the record label as soon as they were created, basically. And they kind of just, as long as they could keep selling, then they would keep going, I guess. But nowadays, because of TikTok and Instagram, you could literally have, if I could sing, I would be singing right now, and hopefully that would go viral. Like Tate McRae is probably the best example of that. You can still see some of the videos that she uploaded on YouTube from a couple years ago, and now she's this big star. So it's a lot easier, I guess, to get exposure as a musician or as an artist, as a singer-songwriter, than it was before, I guess. And also looking now, it seems like it's not really boy bands. Bands still do exist, but it's kind of K-pop. It's the K-pop, the Korean culture that has kind of taken over this part of Western culture that was so normal in the 2000s and stuff. And it seems like they've perfected the model, apparently, with their constant content and deep fan engagement, strong visuals and choreography. I don't really listen to K-pop, to be honest. The only band I know is called BTS. I don't know. They're a huge band, but I don't really listen to them. But anyways, I've literally just thought I would make this video because it's quite an interesting question, I think. Why aren't bands a thing now? Where did they go? But it actually kind of makes sense. It's kind of just an evolution thing more than they've been wiped out. So to my 0 subscribers and 0 followers, Thank you for listening. We'll see what we can do. I hope somebody sees this, man. Bye.